Broken pathways, justice calls, fighting devils behind the walls. Torn families cry, pain it breeds, shatter the chains, meet the need. Roars, tearing through lies. Caseworkers crumble, justice won't die. Corruption falls, truth takes its place. For the families lost in this wicked race. Judges blind, gavel in hand, spinning lies to bury the land. Children stolen, hearts ripped apart. Gonna fight with fire and heart. Turn the tide, break the strife, reclaim the stolen, ignite new life. Courage bleeds through the fear, gunner's voice loud and clear. Roars, tearing through lies. Caseworkers crumble, justice won't die. Corruption falls, truth takes its place. For the families lost in this wicked race. Fists of fury, voices rise, expose the wicked wearing disguise. Family scream, but gunners there with a mission fierce beyond repair. Beyond repair. Fists of fury, voices rise, expose the wicked wearing disguise. Families scream, but gunners there with a mission fierce beyond repair. Gunny rise. Beyond repair. Fists of fury.
Hey look, this for every mama got her baby snatched on some bogus shit. For every pops they locked out the crib like he ain't blood. CPS, y'all been eating off pain for too long. We know what you on, but now it's war, this gun and foe. CPS. Kick doors, no warrants, they taking our seeds. Say it's neglect, but they planting they greed. Feds in they pocket, judge got a fee. Run it like a business, adoption spree. Contracts overseas, got partners in France. But shorty from Shy, he ain't get a chance. Mama work 2 jobs, daddy do right, but they still snatch his baby in the middle of the night. Fuck CPS, they ain't saving shit. Just a system full of snakes getting rich off kids. We see through the cap, we done taken the hit. Now it's Suffer Davis popping and we loaded the clip. Gunna got the case, now we in that fight. Taking this to SCOTUS, shining that light. They ruined good homes, now we flipping that script. Time to bring them back, time to empty the clip. They labeled us monsters, called us unfit, but it's they paperwork dirty, all of it forged and flipped. How the fuck they selling babies to a bidder overseas? Then tell the fam you unworthy. Man, please, we got mamas in pain, daddies in tears. They breaking our hearts, been doing it for years. Now we riding with Gunner, and we got the proof. Sworn under oath, now it's time for truth. Trump got the team and the pen in his hand. He said bring them home, now that's the plan. You feds been hiding, but it's over now. We moving like an army, and we ain't bowing down. Fuck CPS, they ain't saving shit. Just a system full of snakes getting rich off kids. We see through the cap, we done taken the hit. Now it's Alpha Davis popping and we loaded the clip. Gunna got the case, now we in that fight. Taking this to SCOTUS, shining that light. They ruined good homes, now we flipping that script. Time to bring them back, time to empty the clip. They ain't gods, they ain't law, they just people, corrupt people. And when the people rise, ain't no system safe. The Chi-Town, it's the movement. We gunning for CPS, and we coming heavy. Yeah. Wait.
Good evening. Welcome to Gunning for CPS. I am your host, Gunner, to another edition of Truth Exposure and the Constitutional Rights They Do Not Want You to Know. Guys, I don't know if you followed a lot of stuff that we have going on, especially here in my county, in Blount County, Tennessee, but there's been a lot of things in court cases and a lot of corruption and everything else. We've had a lot of the federal authorities going through a lot of stuff. Just to touch on those things, as far as teachers in the Department of Education here that has been covering up for teachers and everything else. For one case, they say that was over 18 years of a somebody that worked for the public school system, a teacher, instructor that actually was abusing kids, and there's the numbers just keep going up for that. But then this person was adjudicated. Now, under this adjudication, this person only got 6 months probation. And after that, they were going to wipe it out. Well, now I'm going to share something with you because people say that's an isolated incident. It doesn't happen. This is not true. I want you guys to check this out. Now, this is going to blow your mind, and then we'll deal with a few other things. Where are we at here? Right here. I want to show you this. And we posted this on our website. And if you'll notice here, that's right here. It's our Facebook page. If you follow me, this is on my Facebook page here. We're going to get to that story. It's talking about what's happening in Washington County up here, and we're going to switch this out. Let's see, remove that one, and now we're going to open up and click on that particular one that's there, and check out this story. And if it doesn't blow your mind, well, let's close the advertisement. Now there's two. Not just one, but two separate cases. Look at this. Vernon teachers, this is in Florida, that were arrested for allegations of sexual abuse, similar to, but unrelated cases. And you go read this case. It talks about a 31-year-old that had sex with two students between here, another one, while they were teaching back and forth. They said that, they're similar, but this and that. Now, we've talked about the adjudication that's happened in Blount County where, we just said before, they got off on 6 months probation, and the teaching license at the time was not suspended. It has been suspended now for 2 years by the state. But I'm going to blow your mind with this because we're going to go back. I don't know if it showed it or not. I don't know why it's not showing it. Let's see. Here it is. Sorry, guys, technical difficulty. But here, let's go back through it. This is right here, sexual abuse. You guys can find this. This is in channel 13, ABC News. This is written out. They reported on this. Two different cases, same situation. One of them has been adjudicated. Okay. Now, this is going to blow your mind. Remember what I told you about here, what was going on in Blount County, Tennessee. This is going to blow your mind. And people say, well, this doesn't happen. It's an isolated case, blah, 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 blah. No, it's not. And you can check this out on my Facebook page too. Check this out. And it's in the comments. And if you go to the comments, I want you to see this. And I hope you guys are, let's see if we got it. Look at this. Same person, same story. And this was followed up by one of our teams. Okay. One of our team members here, and CPS Breaking News, as we all work together, one of our researchers brought this out. I want you to see this. Man accused of molesting multiple victims under the age of 12 while working as a bus driver for the Washington County School District takes a plea deal. Now, if you go in there and you look at it, go check out the plea deal he got. Didn't get jack. I mean, it's going to blow your mind when you go look at this and says, well, they must have got a really bad, really bad thing, really bad, thing. They must have got years and years and years and all this other stuff. No. Ended up getting something like months in there. Go look at the case. It'll blow your damn mind. I mean, little to nothing. Slap on the wrist. Why? Because CPS and the court systems cannot make money if they lock this person up. Now, if this person has affected, they said, 15 kids, this and that, slap on the wrist, go back out and do it again. What the hell? But it perpetuates the cycle of the money. Well, now we're going to blame the state lawmakers and everything else that this doesn't do. No. You got to go in there for these things. You've got to be stricter. But once again, they're meeting a criminal standard. And this is exactly what it is. It's the idea that the state runs things, but it perpetuates the money. Why? It's more money for the attorneys to prosecute these things, to fight these things. And this is a money-making scheme. It's all it is. And the only people being damaged is the American people and the American family. They know this is going on. They're not following these things. And this is the problem with putting your kids out in public and in public school. Now, as a lot of you will know, that my wife, Sharon, that does Beauty and Ashes, that yes, this past week, her children were kidnapped over false allegations to investigate. That a judge illegally issued a removal without substantiated true facts, only suspicions. So when can we start? We can, and this was brought up even by, and this is the interesting I find, and I commend both the attorney that's dealing with her and the GAL from what has been reported, that they stood up for this, that now we're allowing kidnapping of children or the seizing of children under emergency stuff, saying there's imminent danger when there's zero imminent danger and they just want to investigate. And because if you guys watched us, this is retaliation. One, for filing our federal case. Number two, if you guys have gone to Gunning for CPS, you'll look at the videos back in July that showed them showing up to her place and denying entry and everything else. This is retaliation for violating constitutional rights. And we gave you the case laws for that. Doe versus Heck, and then Pierce, I believe it was Pierce versus White County, that talks about Fourth Amendment. And it specifically mentions CPS workers in those case laws of what they're to do and not to do. And even law enforcement saying that they must have a warrant, because anything that's in your home is secured and guaranteed protected, that without a warrant, you can't get in. So they retaliated against her for not allowing her to do those things, being secured on Fourth Amendment property, which is what they're trained and paid to do, which is an emolument violation. That's right. That's a felony act to pay people to commit constitutional crimes and train them to do so. It absolutely is. Which these are felonies that now this judge is covering up for this stuff. Even went on the record as saying that she doesn't agree with homeschoolers and forcing her kids into public schools, even though she has not lost custody of her kids. She has a constitutional right. Now, this goes against several different things. One, it's against the Constitution. Number two, this is against an executive order recently just put out by the President of the United States, that they cannot do this, but they're doing it. Well, We got a few things up our sleeve, but we're not going to release it here. We're going to do after that because why? We have to keep strategy along. But there are some big name players that are getting ready to enter the game that is getting ready to change everything and change everything in this case. We have been already contacted. Somebody has told our story that we have a meeting later this week with local news stations that is going to go probably nationwide on our case of what's going on, including federal tampering and intimidation for filing a federal civil rights case. And you say, well, how do you justify all this? Because if you go back and look at the video that we have as evidence on July 9th, which I believe we posted it that day, the CPS worker first contact says, we're here on behalf of another state, the state of Tennessee. Right there is the biggest red flag in history, let alone there's not even an investigation open and they took her children. No, there's not even an investigation or accusations. Nothing's been filed. But a judge ordered an immediate removal? Guys, this is mass corruption. I know some of you guys are out there going, oh my gosh, how much that? That's right. You're talking about mass corruption. Well, guess what? They don't know who we are, and they don't know about you guys, nor do they know anything about, well, they're getting ready to, that who we've been talking to. See, maybe they knew about this, and there's a good possibility with us working with the DOJ and the FBI that maybe there was some recordings done by someone that got this judge on record and on recording saying exactly these things. Now, one, when a judge comes in and completely downplays and says, I don't tolerate this and this and that, you're going to put your kids in public school, is automatically a bias that the judge has, and that will go for immediate removal. And an investigation will be opened into this judge for these particulars. So I don't want you guys to lose hope. We expected a lot of these things coming. We had a game plan and everything else. We are now executing that plan. We have made contact with the DOJ and the FBI. There are things and other things going on too, but there's a lot bigger things going on as well. So, guys, just keep her in your prayers. Some of you mothers, especially, know what it's like to have your children taken. She was an absolute wreck. So I do not believe there's going to be a beauty and ashes tomorrow. So you guys just send her some love. If you guys got stuff like that, give her some uplifting, this and that, some positive vibes, some positive outreach. Keep her head up. She's going to walk through this. We've got a lot of things in plans, and trust me, the amount of federal filings that are getting ready to go in on this case is just got huge. But here's the good news. We now no longer have to prove that they are crossing state lines in our federal case, because now they've done it to us. And what they've done, that means all those affidavits you've sent in that will be turned in as evidence of all those states. Look, this is happening all over the country. And I believe in the back room there, Darren says we're going to replay a rerun on some of those as well. So keep that probably for tomorrow in Beauty and Ashes. So we will have a rerun on some of those. We'll pick one of those. And she was really kicking off with a lot of great stuff, a lot of great guests. We've got some great new shows that have come out. You're going to have to forgive me. My brain has been fried with everything that's been going on personally. But, I'm not, we're going to do our best to not let you guys down and educate you guys and go through those things and keep you up to date. That's part of what we do here in this channel, is to update you as far as this and explain the constitutional rights and the things that were violated. One, this is definitely retaliation for our federal case, but it was also retaliation for exercising constitutional rights, which is clearly a violation even under Kentucky state law, for retaliation for standing up for your constitutional rights. And basically, once they got their investigation, they found nothing. No facts, no nothing, this, that, but still kept her kids. Now, here's the other part we have to address. One, it says that after, and it says in there that after your kids are taken, an emergency thing, that there's supposed to be an emergency hearing in 24 to 48 hours. Why that time period? Because it gives you enough time to talk to your lawyer and everything else. Listen, they took her kids at like 6, 7 o'clock at night, and she had a hearing the very next day in just over 12 hours at 9 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, not enough time to prepare for court and to catch her off guard. They violated their own policies and procedures right there. How can you even prepare, which is a due process violation? Because how can you get there? Even the attorney she had there was like, what the hell's going on? And head spinning. And then on top of it, the judge lied in court and said, if there's no hard evidence of this particular thing that has happened, they can go ahead and go back. Now, understand this too. This judge also committed a very serious felony inside the courtroom, because this judge demanded that she use her own personal cell phone to call the person that had her kids, which was her sister, biological sister, that she was going to go visit because it's holiday weekend for all you guys that anybody is, common sense, that she just sent the kids on because there was nothing there for her to show up with the kids. She did. The judge made a huge spiel out of this shit and made her bring out her phone, her own personal phone, put it on speakerphone, and call her sister that was in another state to coerce her to bring kids across state line. That is a federal felony offense, and that is an active seizure in the courtroom. And we got you. We got you. Because like I said, we've been working with the FBI and the DOJ. There's nothing to say that, they got a warrant to pop some recordings in there. You're going to run scared now, because now we got all of you. And we got that corrupt judge that's been up there on the record saying about homeschoolers, which is going to open a huge investigation into every case this judge has had because of that bias. That is not adjudicating without bias. That is illegal, and it's unconstitutional, and it's a felony. She has committed war on the Constitution. And trust me, the big players that are coming in to assist her with this ain't going to play, because they won't play at all. And there will be additional filings, probably in federal and the state Supreme Court, on these with hard evidence. And like I said, you don't know if you're dealing with the FBI or the DOJ. We're not going to comment on that. Just to that. But see, when you guys have that hard evidence, as well as there's several other things that we ain't even going to talk about, because, yeah, we got a whole lot on this case that really stinks. Procedure, policy, none of it was followed. Throwing it back in there and then kidnap her kids. And you know what they did? They put them right in foster care. So what's that mean? That's right, guys. This makes it federal, because now you're looking at Social Security fraud, Title IV fraud. It's a fraudulent case when they collect and apply for those monies. So when she had her hearing, all of them brought up the fact of there's no timeline, there's no evidence, what's going on here with this, that, but the judge still adjudicated. We're going to continue to let them do their investigation, even though they've had zero hard evidence to continue to do this. This is what they're going to do. Now, I know this is a repeat probably for a lot of you guys to say, that's the same thing that happened to me. Yeah. But when you have a federal case, and let's say your federal judge, you knew it was coming and filed a few things early, and then judge says, well, we're not going to deal with that right now. But we do expect the state of Kentucky to operate constitutionally. Yeah, guess not. So now we have to file the appeal on those now with a ton of fucking evidence. No, Your Honor, they didn't. And we saw this coming, which is why we filed what we filed. Now, what are you going to do? Because the evidence on there, yeah, it's enough to put this judge and everybody involved in jail for felonies and a huge investigation. So you guys up there in Kentucky, Madison County and the adjoining counties, because I know that she adjudicates in multiple counties, get ready, because the feds are coming The U.S. Marshals are coming, and the whole weight of everything's going to come down, even your own state, into all of this. We're done playing. You just kicked us up. We knew this was coming. We planned for it because they had nothing else. So you want to play and you want to bring this to the big stage? Well, congratulations. You gave us just exactly what we wanted, and you don't have any evidence. Oh, and if you try to pull some bullshit about, oh, well, he violated the restraining order, this, and that, good luck proving that one. And you guys out there know, remember this? Going to be kind of hard to prove that. But when did it happen? And what other things do you have on file? Guess maybe we'll catch old CPS Kentucky and perjury on top of it. Well, it happened here because that was one of the arguments, was there was no timeline, that something supposedly happened. But you know what the funny thing was else that came out, because I've read the reports, because of course these are all going, all this evidence here is actually going in our federal cases evidence. One of the, it just blew my mind when they come through of the report that says that the children were pretty well coached against CPS, and that if they were to do this, they were to hide from the storm cellar. You see how they take and turn around and twist that when they say just stay away from the door, because we've had a previous experience with this, which is legal to do for your children, and your children have been educated to understand their constitutional rights. Now, here's the other problem. Well, now that they have them in custody, you know what they're going to do? They're going to put them before forensic interviews and all this other stuff, which I'm sure they're turning around and doing. But now you've violated the children's constitutional rights because they have no attorney present. You guys didn't realize that, did you? You have a right to have somebody there to advocate for the children. It's inadmissible because there was nobody there to advocate for the children to make sure their rights were secured, which gives them free reign over stuff. No, it doesn't, because now you violated the children's constitutional rights. And the big boys that are coming with that, oh, they're going to love and eat this up for you corrupt bastards that are up there. And then they're going to trace it back to its source. Yeah. See, you only thought we were just this, and oh, well, they're a pro se. Oh, I love the fact that they underestimate us and underestimate this case. That is the most, that is like their undoing of everything, because they don't realize the millions of you that watch this show and how you rebroadcast it, and then it's rebroadcasted again, and we can only track so much. But when I'm looking at the numbers, when some of you guys rebroadcast this show or share it on your own programs lives, like you loop it through, you guys got 400, 4,000, 5,000. We're international. I mean, we've got people from Scotland. We've got people from Ireland, England, Australia. I'm trying to think, and you'll have to forget me, Muzz. Tasmania, New Zealand. There we go. New Zealand. There's another one. And it's reaching out there because they're wondering what's going on, because the same thing's happening in their country. And what this is that CPS is a communist program, communism, based off of Karl Marx's book. And that was in one of my posts before. You can go back and look at it, look through the history. And we post a lot of things, so make sure to check it every day, especially if you're following me on Facebook under my personal. Read in there about Karl Marx and the book that was written way back when, that was sponsored by I can't say the same ones that did the Industrial Revolution. I'm having a brain fart here. The Rockefellers, there we go. The Rockefellers can take it and sponsored this type of stuff because of the banking system. And we're finding out a lot of stuff, especially with Germany and World War II, the things that were done, that we were lied to, that the World War II wasn't about what we thought it was about. And that's a huge thing. And now we're having to watch these corrupt banking systems that are doing this stuff all across the world, that now all of that's come to light. And that changes a lot of stuff. But once again, like I said, for people to hold these things or turn around with this, well, let's reiterate this too. I'm also an international freelance journalist listed with the IFPO. So my everything that's on this broadcast is protected under the First Amendment, not only in the United States, but also the World Court. So that goes in there. So anything that happens too, we can go straight to the World Court and cry crimes against humanity and literally file it there against these people, which I believe is one of our plans after this goes through, is once it's adjudicated in the United States, is putting this as well as the evidence of that before the World Court for crimes against humanity. The same thing that they're going after Fauci and a lot of the other things for, which holds a very severe penalty. It's not a joke. And they're realizing the corruptness in all of these court systems, these lower court systems, and even finding out there's orders been given by the federal court that the lower courts say, we ain't even going to do that. We're going to do our own thing. And then they have to run back to the federal courts and go, Judge, they didn't follow your rulings that you sent down. Then the judge begins to get serious and then starts going, you must do this. And if not, I'm going to hit you with sanctions and I'm going to hit you with this. But once again, you got to file for those things. The judge won't automatically do those things. You have to request them. And that's one of the things, you got to place your order, so to speak. So a lot of this deals with your constitutional rights, and they hate the fact that somebody is educated enough to come after them, but to know all these things and know these words and be able to articulate it to where they have no rebuttal. Now, what are you going to do? There's no rebuttal because federal case law says this in your own. And here's the other part. Not only must you follow this, even your own state constitution says you must follow this. It's right in there. And you pull their state constitution, it says right in there that the supreme law of the land is the Constitution of the United States of America, and nothing can be passed or done to interfere with it or to rebel against it. It's right in. So not only is it becoming a federal crime, technically it's already a state crime. And I think a lot of you are missing that part, that you have to include your state's constitution when you're quoting some of the stuff federally, of saying, well, you must follow these things. Well, it's federal. We don't have to. No, look at that's a violation of your own constitution, which is a violation of your own law. Wow. Huge thing. And there's a lot of things in there. There's a lot of case law. If you don't meet the standard stuff, you're looking at Troxel versus Grandel. I mean, that right there was violated because, once again, it was a fishing expedition. It never took and ever met the standard. It never even met the standard for imminent danger to remove. And on top of it, the sworn statement that the CPS caseworker was once again, it's has perjury on it. Perjury by omission. Why? Because it mentioned our court date or our filing date of the federal case, but didn't acknowledge the fact to the, in her filings that this is a federal civil rights case and who it was against. By omission still means perjury. To leave something out, well, knowing what it was. Well, you know about the filing and you didn't identify what the filing was. And this is how they twist things. But twisting, once again, and then, like I said, you'll go through the videos that said even Skylar, this one that goes on there, committed a felony right there on videotape. There's law enforcement right there. Says to her, all of your children have been sexually abused. You lied in front of a police officer. You gave a false statement as a state representative, Mr. Supervisor. You did. Because the facts is, and even the evidence presented, proved that was a lie. And you think you're going to get away with it? Not a chance. And you think we're going to quit reporting on stuff and following the case and everything else? Not a chance, because we're protected. Retaliate. Because once the federal judge and the filings get all done, you're screwed. Because then ain't going to be real hard to take and get stuff on you and sanctions and everything else with the evidence there, Bubba. And you got no rebuttal. And you ain't in a state court no more. You in big boy court, which means you know what you've just done for your county and your state? Congratulations. The feds are coming to town. Here's your one warning. It's over. And this is why we've all band together and why we're stronger together. And you guys want to go out there? Go ahead. Go out to Madison County, Kentucky. Start writing stuff on the wall. It ain't hard to figure out those stuff. Unconstitutional practices, bias against the judge for homeschoolers, all this other stuff. Why? Because it's all evidence. It's all evidence in a federal case. Let them turn around. Oh, that ain't true. That ain't true. Is it? Because you said it. And who's to say that the FBI and the DOJ don't have that evidence now, Judge, of your bias and how you signed off on something? We got a few other little things too that contradict. You're going to hate that we figured this out. And there's not going to be loopholes because there's going to be an investigation. And all policies and procedures must be followed to the letter. All of them, and meet the standard. Because if not, that's going to be an additional charge because they're going to look to hang you out to dry, even your own state. And now you've kicked open the door. Welcome to the reckoning. This is why coming in millions of people strong, even though we only have so many people that watch here and we can only see so many people that do this, we know it's repeated. Why? Because it's repeated on Facebook. It's repeated on Twitter. We've got people on what is it? What's the other one? I can't think of the name of it. I know Darren's in the back room there working on some stuff. Discord. I think it's on Discord. Somebody puts it on Discord for us. We've got just about every digital platform this is playing on, and the number of followers just on this for rebroadcast is just, like I said, the number, it compounds what we can owe. We can only see so much, but once we look at the other numbers from the other people and report back to us, that's huge. Let alone there's a lot of other movements out there that, Connie Regul, I know Jessica Saxton, some of you know, with Tanawa Downing. Yeah, Rumble's on there. Thanks, Danielle. Tanawa Downing. And the reason we teamed up with Tanawa is Jessica Saxton that works with him. That's the blonde-headed lady. She has a case here in Blount County, Tennessee, against one of the same judges that's here that we're filing against. So there's something in common. You wonder why there's that alliance. That explains why there's alliance there. Connie Regul, she's in Tennessee. She mainly focuses on Tennessee, exposing the mass corruption, the cash for kids, so on and so forth. That goes to their Dave Weigel. I know he's got a big thing with his project. I believe some members of our team are already teamed up with Dave. We were supposed to have a meeting with Dave this past week, but unfortunately, we were dealing with this recent situation and crisis that we couldn't get in on a call that was supposed to be through there. So we're going to reach out and try and reschedule something with them. There's several other groups, Family Forward. I can't even begin to name it. I mean, these are just some of the more recent ones. And all you guys that are already taking and supporting us, getting our name out there, getting this case out there, understanding what we're doing and the complexities of what we're doing, and in how it's different from any other case. And if you look at the case filing, it's not filed like any other 1983 case. It is actually a groundbreaking methodology, the way this was filed. And because we had the evidence to support what we were doing and how it was filed. But the evidence on the state of Tennessee of them violating constitutional rights to obtain children and to open cases and to get federal money and to get kids in foster care and this and that for almost a decade is now on the federal evidence in our case. So the proof is there. And don't forget, like I said, we're working on a couple of things too. Don't forget Dave's Wall of Shame. If you've got judges, GALs, anything like that, go to Dave Weigel's project out there that he's got going. Get on the Wall of Shame. We've got somebody else working on. I want to say Becca Ray is working on something that's very similar. Yeah, Dave Weigel's got something going on. I think something the 7th and the 8th and the 9th. Don't forget to check that out. Don't forget the Tiff and Punisher show. That's on Monday through Thursday, around 7:30, 8 o'clock. We've got, like I said, quite a few other shows that are coming on. There's just so much growing, and our network's growing. And I think eventually we're getting ready to come up with a calendar that you guys will see on our Facebook page that will have all these new shows and everybody's shows and their time slots. Generally, you can go to CPS Breaking News on YouTube, and it will play generally all of those on there, every show. And then you can go to the individual shows and follow those. I know the website's up. There's a lot of information there. If you're sending your kids back to school, make sure that you go up there. We've got new T-shirts that are coming out here. If you look at this here, if you guys want to support this stuff, that's in the link to the Facebook page. I believe it's up on the Facebook, or not on the Facebook page, but it's on the website, the Reckoning 25 right there, guys. And it's on the website. And Darren's going to put that in the comments where you can find this under the shopping cart, CPS Breaking News. You can go under there. It's under gear, hit the home thing, hit the gear. This is something that we're doing as, like I said, promo for this stuff that you guys can stand together with us. It's a killer shirt. It's something to get out there and wear proudly and get people's attention of like, whoa, wait a minute, what's this? And it's in the comments here, so you guys can click on that there. We'll definitely get that up here. Let me get that. Matter of fact, I'll get that put up, and you'll have to Well, wait a minute here. I don't know if I can do it from the backside. Damn it. But yeah, here it is right here at the bottom of the screen there. Just click on that if you guys want to go there. Check out our the new page. That's for the CPS Breaking News Network. All the shows are listed on there. It's growing every day. We're constantly building that. The AI that we're working on just for CPS, that one of our people that is working on. It's an AI program specifically designed for dealing with CPS cases. It reads documents, it dictates, it does this, it scans everything in, the whole 9 yards. It gives you everything, including legal documents. It goes within your state. It goes all the way from your state filing all the way to anything you want to do in federal court and file pro se and file those things for you based off of the information that you provide it. But once again, this is a huge thing we're looking to release. I believe it's almost done. We got a little bit more coding to work on. But when that comes out, guys, we're gonna put that out there big time for you guys. It's huge. Like I said, so much going on in the world today. The administration, once again, cleaning up a lot of the courts, a lot of corruption. We're finding more of the financing. So what a lot of those things that were causing those fear and intimidation tactics and the things that they were doing, their money's getting dried up. And they're back tracing everything. So they're finding all the shell corporations and the dummy corporations. It's not hard just to follow some of the news that's out there of the things they're revealing. The stuff with January 6th has now been opened. Nancy Pelosi can now be personally sued by all January 6ers on a class action suit based off of the things and the findings that the FBI has found. They're finding more and more children every day, and I am so happy for this. This doesn't make national news all the time, and it really should. Finding more kids in Florida, Illinois, this and that, ICE coming in doing what they're doing and finding more kids in trafficking rings and sex rings and all sorts of this other stuff. I mean, there was even stuff during I think some of the DC raids that were found. And a lot of this is connected a lot with DEA and everything, because a lot of it's for not just ICE, it's drugs, it's human trafficking. All this stuff is coming on, and they're finding more and more information, and they're just taking it out layer by layer. They're peeling that onion, which is a complete different onion. There's some international stuff that's going on. That's some stuff that has been listed, that has been notified that there is a good possibility of, once this is all corrupt, mass arrests and everything else by people that have looked to overtake our nation, and stolen from our country and committed the frauds and everything else, that they're getting ready to get all the evidence together. There's been some notifications, I believe, that has been sent to the UN. That's that. You can check that out on my Facebook page. Those things that have been signed, it's been recently documented and updated. You guys can see those documents there. But this country's about ready to change, and it really does need to change. And we really need to go back to the Constitution way it should be. Well, we should have never been living like this. Um, and we've been enslaved. We've been fooled. Everything from the power that we think the states courts have. No, it's only by contract. We're being fooled into contracts, especially with the marriage license and this and that. That's why they did away with saying, well, we don't recognize common law marriages, especially in states like that. Well, you have to, because the Constitution guarantees that. Under what? My religious rights. There's a lot of things um, that can be articulated. And once again, because they have something here that says you can't, doesn't mean that there's a way around it, especially with the Constitution, because there's so much unconstitutionality that deals with this stuff. Um, looking up things and stuff like that. You have stuff like driver's license. Go look up in Black's Law Dictionary what a driver is. A driver is somebody operating for profit or for commercial. It's right in there. If I'm not doing that, prove that I'm operating commercially. This is where that whole thing of right to travel. We'll have to, yeah, you're going to have to fight for it. But once again, you're going to have to fight for your rights until we re-educate these courts of the Constitution that they're not following. And they're creating stuff to create money, because this is how these people get paid. You wonder why the police have gotten so big. The lawyers, they need so many damn lawyers today, and there's a high thing for lawyers today and judges and all this other stuff, because all of that money is being generated by breaking the law and breaking the Constitution. Otherwise, you wouldn't need these state courts for half of this junk. None of it. It's wasteless, but it creates a job for somebody that they're creating their work. Even going back to the case that we talked about earlier of letting these people we well know, these that are pedophiles, out and do 6 months probation, and oh my gosh, you were bad, now go back and do it again and make us some more money. Why? Because there's more money in helping 20, 30 kids through CPS and running them through that system and the families through that. And then on top of it, probably charging the families, which is the dirty shit that they do on top of it, especially in a lot of cases, if they make it the parents' fault for not noticing, and then go after the parents and remove the kid and put them in a foster home. Now they're stuck in the cycle. They're perpetuating this shit. There's documentation all over the place of this corruption. Why? Because they get more money out of it under Title IV. You start cutting their funding and everything else. To be honest, in my personal opinion, we need to abolish the Social Security Act of 1935, and we need to put that in there specifically for one thing and one thing only. And like I said, and that was meant for a retirement plan, or when people got this and they couldn't work all the time and they didn't have enough savings to have at least something to live off of to survive. And when you realize how much has been stolen out of that fund by CPS and other corrupt, organizations, under the guise of paperwork and everything else, that they're so scared of for them to get into that system and audit it, because it would reveal so much corruption, and they're scared. But it's very well, like I said, enslaved. But once again, look who took and passed it. And they did it with the suggestion of this, but then they did a writer on it, which was the CPS. Well, they had good intentions, but once again, it's corrupt. And now you've got another shooting going on. Let's go ahead and deal with that. We got another shooting that's going on from what? Somebody that is mentally ill, that was mid-trans, hated the fact that they were going to do trans, even under their own thing, stuff written all over the rifle, even this stuff of all the other ones that are perpetuating this. And I'm not saying everybody's having this issue. Once again, it's a mental issue, because somebody has been broken and nobody knows how to heal. And this is something that Beauty and Ashes was doing. And now we have the other new show that's on the other night is I think it's called Healing with Sam, or Sam Healing or something. With Sam and I, both Sharon and I both know Sam. And it's one of those things that we've got to learn to heal after some of these traumatic experiences and get past some of the things that we're doing. And we've got to learn to move forward and go on. But this shit's got to stop. And CPS absolutely needs to be abolished, because there's absolutely Zero reason for it to exist because one, it interferes with the duties of a duly elected sheriff, and CPS are appointed actors. In other words, they're not elected, they can't be replaced. That's a huge problem because if a new sheriff comes in and is elected in and they don't like the officer, they'll do an audit first thing when they come in. I don't like what you're doing, and I'm cutting you loose. Healing with Sam. There we go. Thanks, John. Um, like I said, my brain's all over the place. Like I said, we've had a lot of trauma this week, and once again, I'm trying to comfort the best I can with what separation we have with Sharon. Once again, she's just trying to get in a better place and get her strength up. Because there's a whole new fight coming this week, and there's a lot going on. So that's one thing that's very important: is don't give up. You're allowed to get hit and knocked down, but as they say, it's not the fact that you got knocked down; it's your honor and your integrity that gets you back up and gets you back into the fight. And understand this is a fight, and we knew what we were getting into, and we knew what they were going to try and do, and this and that. Everything was prepared. This was not once again, we expected this, saw where they were going because this is the only option they have. And it's some way of fishing to try and bring something into the federal court to get the federal case dismissed. That's all this is. But we were prepared. We knew what to come in. We've already got the case laws. We've already got the motions. We've already got everything else. And like I said, there was even filings preemptively on this for a reason because we saw it coming. Now we can go back and justify it. And that's not hard to do. Your Honor, we saw this coming. And there's like, would you have a crystal ball? No, we just know they're just that stupid because that's exactly what they are. This was stupid. And once it comes down to and it's held against the law and the truths and the policies and the procedures and everything else, you're going to expose mass corruption in yet another state. So, and yes, are they being added to the federal case? Absolutely. Will she probably have to take and deal with this judge and everything else even further? I seriously doubt it because I see this judge probably getting removed here in the next couple of weeks, real fast, as well as several motions against her by some very powerful organizations, if not arrested, as well as the other parties that are in this. We've got a lot of, like I said, information. We've got a lot of contacts. They don't know who we're working with and what we're doing. And like I said, and a lot of this is thanks to you guys out there. Getting the word out, supporting our shows, the education, sharing our posts, sharing the information, getting other people to wake up, realize what's happening in their own counties, their own state, and everything else, and realize there's other people that are buried that have no clue where to go or anything else, and they're stuck with some court appointed somebody that may not be even care about their rights or anything else that they've got going on. Just figure it's business as usual. They don't know all this stuff is going on, but at the same time, they've got to practice law in that same county, usually the same place, and deal with the same judges and the same this and the same that. And they understand that affects every other case that they take, and that there's going to be a bias. There's a huge issue right there. These lawyers shouldn't take and fear these judges of retaliation over one case because they pointed out that the judge did something and this is that. These judges should be, the whole point they've been appointed is supposed to be they're above reproach. In other words, they've practiced long enough that they know the law, they keep up with the current laws, and then they apply them into the courtroom and follow them and are constitutionally sound. And we are finding out, as well as you guys know, and as we're discovering even more, yeah, it's not just one state, it's not just one county. This is a nationwide issue. And yes, the president is aware of what's going um, on these cases. I can't speak anymore as far as anything else with the White House. Um, we'll just leave it at that. Um, but like I said, there's a lot of powerful things going on. Guys, stay tuned for a lot of this stuff. Um, I know it's been kind of a short, we're going to cut it here like right about an hour here. I know our numbers are kind of going down. There's just a lot going on. Like I said, we at least wanted to pop on, give you guys a show, and what was going on. Get what I'm saying? And it kind of guys information updates. Uh, probably do a little bit longer show and a lot of other things. We may return back to our constitutional rights. We're going to work on that, but like I said, we've got a lot of our own personal and things going on. Once again, the case is going to take priority, as well as our families. As I hope the same thing as you. So please understand, be with continue to support us in any way that you feel possible. Um, these are great things that are going on. Like I said, it's all getting ready to come out. You're talking about being exposed nationwide, and when this case blows and hits it, like I said, they're talking about sitting down with the news, and even this is a big news station. They got wind of it, and if this goes here, this could go across the country, nationwide. And if we do, we'll definitely make sure if we find it and it's posted and they do a story on it, we watch it. We'll make sure that they send us the clip, because we're going to promo the clip on our pages and everything else that's going on there, because now it's going to go nation. Like I said, it's big news. So check us out again, and don't forget Tiff and the Punisher tomorrow night. Like I said, there's not going to be any Beauty and Ashes. She's got a lot of things that's going on, but we got a lot of new great shows. Check out CPS Breaking News on YouTube. That'll get you all the new shows that are coming up, including the other one with Sam, the other one with our new ADA advocate that's there, that's going to help you guys out that have disabilities and stuff like that. Even if you don't think you have disabilities, check out the show, because there's a lot of information there. And then Becca's got a new one that's out too. She plays during several different times. Like I said, once the calendar comes out, we'll get that out to you guys to watch those shows. But tons of new information, tons of new hosts. Just a gob. It's a huge amount of information, and we can't all do it in one show. So these other shows are picking up the slack and has a whole new perspective. There's Sam right there in the audience, and with her new show. Love you guys. Don't forget, we're in this together, and this is what they fear, because if we come together in numbers, they're scared shitless, and then they have to change. It's like the movie Ants and what the grasshopper said. If they ever figure out what we're doing, and they realize that we can rise, that the ants can rise together, they'll overtake us, and that we won't even be able to rule over them. It's time to come together, America, and it's time to make our voices and our stories loud. There are more cases now in federal court today than there's ever been against CPS nationwide. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you next week. Have a great time. See you then.